This is ScreenView with Peter Van, Amy Morgan, and John Denny. Fan us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter at ScreenView Show, and join in on the conversation on Google+.
Hello and welcome to episode 37 of ScreenView. I'm Peter Van, and with me this week are the usual people, John and Amy.
Hello.
How are you guys this week?
We're the old crowd now, right?
Yeah, we're the old crowd. We're the old hats.
Old hat.
Okay, so we will talk about a lot of the fun stuff. You know, of course, we will start off with the box office. Paranormal Activity 4, despite the fact that it is the fourth movie that does not do anything with casts or build characters or anything, made $29 million.
I am not going to see this movie, and I've seen all the other ones.
What?
They're all the same. It's like, and the first one was really good because you didn't really know what to expect, and it was like suspense, like something weird happens, suspense. You know, another weird thing happens, and then eventually they're at the end of the movie when the big shocking thing happens. And the second movie came out, and it was exactly the same thing. And the third movie came out, and it was exactly the same thing. So I'm not buying into it this time.
Right.
So, I mean, obviously people are going to see it. It made $29 million on a $5 million budget. But I'm not getting fooled again.
Right. You could just catch it on like HBO or
Not that I
something.
really paid for it. I mean, I got all the movies from Netflix, so I'm not paying for it directly. You know,
Right.
not anymore. It's not going to take up a spot in my queue anymore. What'd you say?
Never again.
Never again.
No more Paranormal Activity.
I've seen some bad horror movies, but at least they're different. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, they can. It's like, I've seen some bad horror movies, but at least they were terrible.
No,
this was
well,
trying to be true.
It's trying something different. I mean, it's another thing when it's like, you know, oh, it's a horror movie, but it's the exact same thing as the other horror movie. You know, that's got the same exact name, only one number different.
Right. It's like Saw. They just progressively got worse.
Yeah, I mean, Saw. Yeah, the Saw movies were all connected to each other, so at least they carried a story further. I mean, I don't know. It was it's the same idea, I guess.
Okay. Cool. Argo is at number 2 again with $16.44 million.
What is Argo? I've never heard of that.
Oh, you're in for a treat, lady.
Yeah.
Oh, am I?
Yeah, it's about the Iran-Contra affair.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Essentially, it was when 6 Americans were kidnapped by Iran.
No. When the U.S. embassy got taken over by the what country is it? I can't remember what country you said.
Iran,
yeah. By Iranian, the embassy got taken over by Iranians, and these 6 people were not in the embassy at the time, and they were hiding out like in the city, and they had no way of getting out of the country.
Oh man!
But they somehow were able to get in contact with the United States, and it's a true story. And I read all about it, like when they were first released all the documents about it,
which was crazy. It was like, what?
And basically the whole plot is the guy's genius way of getting him out of the country was to go into the country saying, I'm making a movie, and these people are my movie. The movie's done now. We're leaving.
Yeah.
Oh.
And the movie
so that's how they got out of it.
And the movie was titled Argo.
And the movie's titled Argo, yeah.
And what happened essentially is that the American government created a fake movie studio, made a real script and everything. It was so real that like legitimate writers actually submitted their scripts to the studio.
The one thing I wonder that's the true part, and I don't know if they'll even get into it in the movie, but the Canadian government actually had a lot to do with it.
Yeah, because he was pretending to be Canadian.
Right.
Because they obviously wouldn't let Americans come in.
Not just pretending to be Canadian, but the Canadian government was in on it. They knew everything that was going on.
Oh,
and they actually facilitated the whole thing. So I wonder if they'll even...
So it was an elaborate hoax just to get these people out of Iran.
Yeah, they essentially set up, like, it was crazy. It's pretty ridiculous. And
well, hey, if it works, go for it, man, right?
It's Ben Affleck's third movie, and they're essentially saying that not only is it set for possibly nomination for Best Picture, but also Best Director for Ben Affleck.
Well, just you guys talking about it now, I'm kind of interested to go see it.
Yeah, it sounds like a really cool film, and they said it was a really good film.
Man.
So.
Whatever
He's a
works.
pretty damn good director. I mean, his acting is not always the greatest, but his directing is really good. The 3 movies he's directed have all been really good movies.
Yeah, he really knows how to pick them. So, all right. So number 3 is Taken 2 with 13.26 million. Hotel Transylvania with 13 million. Alex Cross, Sinister, Here Comes the Boom.
Man, Alex Cross came out in 5th. I wasn't sure how that movie would do.
I don't think the movie actually got very good.
Well, they didn't really... I mean, from the commercials, the only person I knew who was in it was Tyler Perry. I didn't even know Matthew Fox was in it until I looked it up.
Oh. That was bad. Yeah, Alex Cross only got 13%.
And, I don't know. If you're gonna market it, at least put something more in there than just... I saw the same trailer like 65 times, and it, like I said, it didn't show anything about who was in the movie except for Tyler Perry.
Yeah, and you always remember Tyler Perry from Medea.
Right.
Not really even though he has done other dramas, but...
Yeah, he was in Star Trek, and he was in something else and something else.
Some other stuff. And maybe this one. Maybe some.
I know he was in Star Trek. That's really the only other thing that I think I've seen him in.
I actually forget what he was in Star Trek.
He was one of the, hoity-toity generals.
Oh, that's right.
That was in charge of Starfleet Academy. Yelling at Kirk.
It happens a lot, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yell at that man over there.
Okay, so after number 7, Here Comes the Boom is 8, Pitch Perfect. Number 9 was Frankenweenie, which is kind of surprising. This movie did not make a lot. It looked pretty crappy, though. That's why.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
It's Frankenweenie. I mean, yeah.
I don't think that they really...
It's a kids movie.
Yeah, it's another... But even for a kids movie, I don't think they really marketed it well, because kids are, If you don't know what the movie's about, then all you'd think is like,
it's going to be kind of morbid, right?
Yeah, but you just think, it's a Halloween or it's a movie about Frankenstein, but instead of a person, it's a dog.
Yeah.
But like, I think there's a lot more to it than that, where like the kid starts bringing his friends' animals back to life.
Oh golly, that's
lovely.
But
at least it makes for like a more interesting story than just a regular Frankenstein story.
Yeah.
But to round at the top 10 is Looper, which has made its money back. So
good, because it's a good movie. Go see Looper.
I've heard a couple people say it was a good movie, and I've heard one person say that it was not a good movie. But that was secondhand. So
yeah.
What's that?
For some reason, I thought it was Ben.
No, it was my mother-in-law's friend said that she was talking about movies, and she was like, "Oh, I heard Looper wasn't that good." My dad was like, "No, I really liked it."
That was good. I thought it was really good. I was very impressed with it.
Yeah, I mean, can't really go wrong. It looks really awesome. So.
Yeah.
Okay. So opening this weekend is our 4 movies, which apparently are opening very widely, but apparently are not going to make a lot of money because they all look terrible. Chasing Mavericks, which is a surfing movie based on real events.
Oh, Chasing Mavericks almost sounds more like a flyboy movie rather than
Top Gun
surfing movie. Yeah,
yeah, exactly.
Or Dangerous Maverick.
Yeah, exactly. Or even the Mel Gibson movie.
Mel Gibson movie.
It's a sequel.
Oh, Maverick.
It's a sequel
where
there's multiples of them and they're chasing.
Yeah. It's 100 years after the movie Maverick.
Yeah. His
great-great-grandson is now a surfer who gambles.
And then Cloud Atlas, which is like the fountain on steroids.
That's
with
exactly
comics.
what I thought when I first saw the trailer. I was like, "Is this the fountain?"
Yeah, that's essentially what I thought too. I was like,
And the fountain was a movie that made no sense.
it didn't make any money either.
It was such a weird movie.
Yeah, I mean it's
Like I like what's his name? Who directed it?
Darren Aronofsky.
Darren Aronofsky.
He made some weird movie. He makes some weird movies, man.
Yeah, but that movie was like when it was over, I was like, "What did I watch?" And now like I'm watching trailers for Cloud Atlas, trying to figure out what it's about, and I'm like, it looks like The Fountain, where it's like the same two people going through different time periods, past, present, and future.
Yeah. So.
And is that basically what it is? I haven't read anything about it.
Yeah, apparently there are 6 storylines versus 3.
Oh, good.
I have no idea how they're going to pull
so it'll
that
be
off.
less confusing.
Yeah. It's gonna be weird. Okay, no numbers. The next movie is called Fun Size.
Yeah.
I don't really understand. I don't know.
It's like the movie The Sitter, but it's a girl sitter this time, and it's a kid who's a pain in the butt.
Oh, great. Great. So wonderful.
Johnny Knoxville's in it, though. That's the only thing that would make me...
38% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah. What did Cloud Atlas get on Rotten Tomatoes?
59%. Just below the
Rotten line?
The rotten line.
So you're either 50% for it or 50% not for it. It's kind of a half and half movie, huh?
Yeah, it's one of those. Chasing Mavericks only got 35%, so it's worse than Fun Size. So if you want to choose between the crabs,
Darn. It's got to be the title.
Yeah, and then Silent Hill Revelation 3D, which is 6 years after the original Silent Hill movie came out. It's coming out with another movie, and it was not screened for critics, so take that.
I mean, you know what it's going to be, I guess.
It's going to be Silent Hill
Yep.
again.
Yeah. I never played any of the Silent Hill games.
No,
Haven't.
I don't know what any of the storylines are.
it's essentially an alternate universe in an abandoned coal town or something like that. We were talking about this, remember?
I know. Yeah,
made
the
Silent
movie is
Hill-
based on Centralia, PA.
Yeah, which has an undermined coal, which will be on fire until the end of eternity.
Yeah, 100 years or something like that. It's been on fire.
And it'll keep
Have
going.
you ever heard of that, Amy?
What is it?
Centralia, PA.
I haven't. That's
It's like 2 hours or so outside of Philadelphia. There's a coal mine underneath the ground, and it's been on fire for 100 years.
seriously?
Yeah,
Oh
and
my gosh.
they evacuated the town in like 2005 due to
They haven't put it out.
they can't.
Yeah, it's too big. The
Wow.
whole coal line is on fire.
The post office reneged their zip code. But
So
apparently,
they evacuated the whole town? Like how will it just burn until it dies or what?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Mhm.
gonna burn forever.
But anyway, the first Silent Hill movie, when they were looking for places to shoot, they based it on Centralia, PA, because it's like a smoky coal town where there's smoke coming up from underground. They're
Dang.
talking on the radio today. They were saying basically that there's spots on the ground that are too hot to stand on.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, there's a freaking, fire underneath the ground. Oh my gosh.
Coal mine
Wow.
on fire. Yeah, exactly.
We drove through there when I was younger. It was like
What a
90.
tragedy.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, but anyway, Tyler ties it into Silent Hill.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I never heard about that before. I mean, I think I might have, but I didn't know that was actually. I thought they made it put it out or something.
And it's interesting reading if you're ever bored and want to look up something on Wikipedia.
Uh huh.
There's a slow day when there's not anything about Nazis on the History Channel. There might be something about Australia, PA.
Wow.
Well, seriously, that channel is all Nazi stuff. But they have run programs about the town.
Wow. That's wow.
Hey, John, your video's frozen. If you could consider it.
Son of a bee sting.
I like that son of a beastie.
But okay. Well, John, you should be kind of happy about this. Actually, your brother might be happy about this. is. But,
Did my video fix itself?
not yet.
It's
will soon.
coming.
But what you should be happy about is that Conan the Barbarian is getting rebooted.
Oh, I thought they already did that.
With Arnold Schwarzenegger as the new Conan.
Yeah.
Or the old Conan, or the returning
Really?
Conan? I don't really know. But essentially, yeah.
It's like
So,
They
hasn't-
literally just rebooted the movie last year.
Yeah, so
I was
apparently they
gonna
didn't
say
like
they
that.
did. It wasn't that great.
So yeah, Deadline is reporting that Universal Studios has made a deal for The Legend of Conan, an action film that will star Arnold Schwarzenegger. And Robert E. Howard will actually come back, and I think he's coming back.
Maybe he'll play
Robert
the
E.
dad
Howard,
of.
the guy who created.
Robert E. Howard, yeah, he
Yeah,
created
he
it,
is.
and
Yeah.
then essentially Arnold Schwarzenegger is coming back, and they're going to essentially continue the film series from back in '82. So 30 years, 30? 30.
Wow.
30 years later, the original ended with Arnold as on the throne as a seasoned warrior, and this is the take of the film we will make. Frederick Malmberg, who is the CEO of Paradox Entertainment, and he holds the rights to Conan. And essentially said it's that Nordic Viking mythic guy who has played the role of king, warrior, soldier, and mercenary, and who has bedded more women than anyone near the last cycle of his life. He knows he's going to Valhalla and wants to go out with a good battle.
What? Conan's not a Viking.
Well,
He's a barbarian.
he said it's like it's
Viking-ish.
like that guy.
Yeah, it's like that guy.
But Arnold Schwarzenegger says, I always loved the Conan character, and I'm starving for money. No, I'm just kidding. And I'm honored to be asked to step into the role once again. I can't wait to work with Universal and the great team of Frederick Malmberg and Chris Morgan to develop the next step of this truly big story.
No, this is the only thing I'm worried about is that, movie making and storytelling back then was different than it is now. And I'm worried that if they don't keep to some sort of source material, like something that Howard has actually written, that it'll end up just being like every other action show out there. It'll be great special effects and really poor story, because that's exactly what I felt about the reboot that they did this last year, is the fact that it wasn't bad. It was all special effects and, booyah, but like the story just fell flat. It didn't pull off. Like the ending was all off, and that's my only worry about it, is that it, and it'd be nice to see Schwarzenegger back in it, but at the same time, like, filming and storytelling is different than it was back then when they did that. Those are cult classics because of the way that they filmed them and done them, and if they're going to try to preserve some of that, great, but they're not even saying that. They're just like, oh, we got Arnold Schwarzenegger, it's going to be awesome.
So what you're saying is that the reboot guy who played Conan talked too much.
Well, the problem is that he knows English, so he had to talk.
Oh, what?
It wasn't that I didn't like. It was the fact that, like the payoff for that movie, they're gradually building toward this like big ending that is going to happen, right? You get to it, and you're like, that's it?
Yeah.
Really?
Okay.
It was like you get all the way to the end, and then they didn't deliver. And it was just kind of like, then it was over, and the movie was over, and both my husband and I were like going, wait, did that just happen? We were frustrated at the fact that we had no real payoff to it. So it was like the story there was something wrong with the story. Either they didn't work up the conflict very well. I mean, they did build it like it was going towards something, and then all of a sudden, boom, we had the end, and we're like going, really? And for a good 30 minutes, we probably sat there just ranting and pulling it apart, going, why did they do that? Why did they do this? Why did they do this? And so, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but on the other hand of that, I understand why they did reboot it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm fine if they reboot it, but
you want to bring the story to a new generation, all that kind of stuff. I wish they would have, I don't know, done something a little bit more with the story, like you said. But on the other, there's no need to bring Arnold Schwarzenegger back to this role. You know what I mean? Like, if they're going to do another Terminator movie, they wouldn't have to bring Arnold Schwarzenegger back. And
True.
it would be kind of foolish if they did, because the last one, it was like a cameo appearance, and it wasn't even that important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They just don't. He can go on to be in movies like The Expendables or something different that he's,
Yeah.
Look, he hasn't been an actor in 8 years.
It's true.
Yeah, and he's certainly not starving for cash. So why not just do what you want, Like,
on the most basic side of it, Conan the Barbarian is a character who walks around with basically a loincloth on. And is that something that 65-year-old Arnold Schwarzenegger can pull off?
Yeah, can he still do that? That was the other thing.
I'm not really sure.
I don't think so. I mean, I don't think he has the time.
Maybe that's the reason why he's doing it. It's because, hey, I'm an old guy and I can still
maybe it would give him some. Maybe it would give him reason to get back in shape and be that big looking guy for movies again. But I don't know if
If that's the reason.
That's for sure.
I think that this movie will probably come and go and not make a real impact on anybody.
Yeah, it's not necessary for him to play this role, that's for sure.
If that's the reason why they're bringing him back, just like, well, we kind of flopped on the last one, so maybe if we bring Arnold back, maybe it'll make it better. And I'm like, no, that's not the problem. The problem is you have to have a good story, and you have to have a good conflict that carries it through and has a good payoff. That's the reason why the last one didn't work, for me, at least. Right. All of the special effects and stuff aside, it just felt like a really bad TV show episode instead of a really awesome epic movie. So
yeah, I mean, look, this guy who had the rights to Conan, it says that he might write the script and he's got a story. Being a CEO of a company is not. I don't know if he's ever written anything for movies before or any kind of story or anything like that. The other guy who's a producer, I guess, has been a producer for Fast and the Furious.
Yeah, for Universal. Yeah, he's a Universal.
Yeah, I mean, all right. I don't know. Past performance doesn't indicate future performance, but I don't have much. I didn't have much hope for the reboot of the Conan movie.
Yeah.
I probably have less than that for the reboot.
Of the reboot.
Yeah. Reboot of the reboot.
I just look at Arnold as basically the gimmick that's supposed to sell it, and I'm like, that's the thing, is that I wasn't like, I wouldn't say that when I watched the last one that I was like, oh, it's going to be crap. I was like, my only worry about it was just like every other thing that has been a reboot is, we got Wrath of the Titans, or whatever Titan movie that was. Again, it just comes down to storytelling. If there's not a good story with it, then it doesn't matter how many times you reboot it or bring it back or whatever. It's not going to work. And
I think that plays on the mindset of the late 70s and the early basically the entire 80s, where it's like, oh, it's so and so actors in this movie, I'm going to go see it. Whereas nowadays, everyone is super informed and they know what the story is before the movie comes out, and they already made the decision on whether or not they're going to see it.
Yeah.
So 30 years ago, this might have worked, where you're like, oh, Arnold Schwarzenegger is coming back, and he's going to do the Conan role again. Everyone would be lining up the theaters because it's Arnold Schwarzenegger playing Conan the Barbarian again.
Yeah.
Whereas nowadays, it's like, we almost know too much, so it's already, the judgment's already there, and it's, we're moving on to the next thing.
Yeah. Well, I just not that I want to beat a dead horse, but I also think, back in the day when they did those movies, they did over the top, but it worked for over the top. Over the top nowadays can almost pull off to the point where it's just too much. You know what I mean? They don't. Storytelling is just different now. If they want to put it and make it look like it actually belongs back as a period piece in the 80s, but yet done now, and they try to make it kind of vintage-ish in that way, I don't know, maybe like cult following, maybe that would be all right, but I don't think they're going to do that, and I really don't think that Arnold Schwarzenegger has to be there to pull it off. I don't know. Like I said, I'm mixed feelings on it. I was a fan of Conan the Barbarian when I was a kid. I watched the reboot, wasn't happy with it. I'm not going to be happy with this because I just don't think that Arnold Schwarzenegger has to be there to sell it. But if that's their only gimmick to getting people to come to the theater to see it, I'm not very hopeful that it's going to do good.
Okay.
Me neither.
Yeah.
And I'll be the one who waits. Okay, so we can talk about some trailers. John, what did you think about the Iron Man 3 trailer?
I'm gonna shock you right now.
You did not watch it, did you?
I haven't watched it. You know what? And I'll tell you why. Because I don't want to know too much.
Right.
The more trailers you watch, the more the movie you see.
Right.
And I want to see the majority of the movie when I go to see the movie. When Iron Man 2 came out, the big parts in the trailer were him opening up the briefcase and that becoming his suit. And if you had seen that for the first time in the movie, you would have been like, "Oh, that was so awesome! I can't believe that happened." But you've seen it so many times in a trailer where it's like, you know, I said that before. It's not that exciting anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And at some point, eventually, it's gonna be unavoidable, and I'm gonna be seeing Iron Man 3 trailers all over the place.
Yeah.
But for now, I'm keeping my distance. I've seen stills, and I know who the villains are in the movie, and I know all that kind of stuff. But as much as I'm trying to humanly possible do, I'm staying away from a movie based on my favorite comic book character of all time.
Very good. Amy, did you by any chance watch this trailer?
My husband pulled it up and said, "Hey, have you seen the new Iron Man?" I was like, "I've been too busy today to see it." So he pulled it up and we watched it and I was like, "Cool. When's it come out?"
Next May.
Yeah.
Oh no, we have to wait that long? That
Yup.
sucks.
Oh. But it looks, it's yeah.
I'm interested. It looks like they're taking it in a completely different direction than they've taken the other two. So I'm like going, okay,
Different
all right.
writer. It's written and directed by Shane Black, who did Lethal Weapon movies.
Nice.
And this as well as another movie called Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, which also had Robert Downey Jr. in it. That was really cool as well.
What did he do? Lethal Weapon 4?
I don't think he did Lethal Weapon 4. I think he created Lethal Weapon.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Well, I saw the trailer and went, okay, I want to know more about Iron Man.
Yeah.
Did they show Ben Kingsley at all in the trailer?
They did.
Yes, they did.
Does he look good?
Doesn't look that
I don't
bad.
know who he's supposed to look like, so he looks kind of
He
really
doesn't
like
look that
the bad
bad.
guy to me.
He
Yeah.
doesn't look all that bad.
He looked pretty, like the role fit him. I was like, okay.
Cool.
Yeah.
Ben
I'm
Kingsley.
interested.
So Ben Kingsley is supposed to be the Mandarin who was
Okay.
well, oddly enough he's obviously Caucasian.
Yeah. Yeah, they
But Shane Black played he created Lethal Weapon.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Wrote and I think I believe he directed the first one. Yeah,
No, I think Richard Donner directed them
Richard
all.
Donner directed all them, like the good ones, and then Shane Black wrote.
Okay. But anyway, back to Ben Kingsley. Ben Kingsley has played Gandhi, so I feel like he could.
That's true.
He
you can play Gandhi. You can
looks-
play anybody.
Yeah, I mean, he looks. He's clearly English, but
Yeah.
he could easily look Indian / Middle Eastern.
I think they did a good job. I mean,
Because he's not supposed to be Chinese, right?
I mean, he's the Mandarin, right? So, but of course he's got like he's not like he doesn't actually have a specific race, right? He looks different depending on who draws him, right?
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know if they're trying to have him be a Chinese person. Only because they kind of updated everything. Look, when Iron Man started in 1963, it was,
Bad to be Chinese.
he was in Vietnam when he first got hit. When everything happened to him, and then he broke out of the camp and came back to the United States. And then his big bad guy was the Mandarin, who was super communist because he's from China.
Right.
And that was like in the middle, like in the 70s when it was the communist versus the United States. So I don't know if they're definitely going to have him be a Chinese, only because the whole everything shifted, you know.
Yeah.
So I mean, look, in the first movie they mentioned the 10 rings, and that's the 10 rings are the rings of the Mandarin. So I don't know if he's going to be like a Middle Eastern. I mean, I guess they certainly could play him off as Asian and just have these different sects, and each sect is a different ring. But I guess we'll see how it goes.
Okay. Another trailer includes A Good Day to Die Hard. I don't know if you guys heard about this.
Is it a teaser or is it an actual trailer?
It's an official trailer. Although they call it an official trailer, although it's a minute. It's only a minute long, so I think that's kind of like a teaser. Trailer.
It depends on what they show. I didn't watch it. It depends on what they show as to whether you could call it a teaser or not. I mean, it was
snapshots of stuff. You don't really know what's going on. Like all you see is Bruce Willis, of course, shooting the crap out of stuff.
I would call that a teaser.
Yeah, and they said they're announcing February 14th is a good day to die hard, kind of stuff. So
February 14th.
Yeah, fast, man.
Valentine's Day. Woohoo!
Yeah, it's a perfect Valentine's Day.
You can take your girlfriend or wife or whatever to see a action movie with Bruce Willis.
And then Bruce Willis does call himself the 007 from
joy.
Wherever New Jersey he's from.
Another holiday themed movie for Die Hard.
Yeah, exactly.
Valentine's Day, 2 Christmases, 4th of July for the 4th one. Maybe Valentine's Day.
Yeah, absolutely. So, of course, the final and third one is really kind of crazy. They're remaking The Evil Dead.
I can't believe they're doing this.
Although
zombies are kind of hip now.
Although it is produced, I don't know if he's directing it, but it is produced by Sam Raimi.
Right.
So
and
he
Bruce
is
Campbell's in it, isn't he?
Bruce Campbell is producing it as well.
Producing it? I thought he was in it.
No, I don't think he's in it. At least in this teaser trailer, he's not in it. But he was at the Comic-Con panel and stuff like that. So let's see. It is produced by Bruce Campbell and is written by Sam Raimi, as well as Ivan. Oh, it's starring Bruce Campbell. What?
Yeah, I thought he was.
No, wait. I'm sorry. Hang on a second.
Are you looking at the old one?
I read the wrong part of the wiki. I apologize. It will be produced by Bruce Campbell and Sam Raimi, but will not include the Ash character.
Okay.
But it's there. So they're producing it. So there will definitely be some hold, but it looks scary as all hell.
Kind of worries me because there's I don't know. Have you seen the first Evil Dead, Peter?
I did.
Have you, Amy?
I haven't. No, I haven't seen it.
Well, spoiler alert. There's a tree rape scene in the original.
They kind of teased this. Teased the same in the trailer as well.
Which scares me because now with things are a little bit looser, the way what happens on the screen and what they can show, I'm a little terrified of what they're going to do with that scene.
Oh joy, right?
It's going to be
look, you see it the first time, you're like, what in the world?
It's going to be a hard R, man.
It's kind of goofy, but like super weird and scary.
Yeah, Evil Dead was definitely a scarier one. I think we had this conversation before that Evil Dead was it was definitely more serious of a horror movie, and then 2 and Army of Darkness was just ridiculous. It was crazy.
Well, 2 was the same movie,
but it was funnier.
Yeah,
much funnier.
We did have this conversation, I think.
Yeah, but it's really disgusting. What's really grossing me out in this trailer is one of them is the possessed lady, cuts her own tongue in half. It's just so
really?
Yeah, in the Red Band trailer, she cuts her tongue in half.
Oh, in the Red Band trailer, I'm gonna say.
Yeah. No, that would be disgusting. They were going to do that. So Evil Dead.
If I want to watch the Evil Dead, I have the DVDs.
Evil Dead, April 12th, 2013. So enjoy that. Okay. So before we go to about which shows are canceled already, NBC apparently is having a good.
I can't believe
First 3
this.
weeks. It's so for the first time in 10 years since 2002, NBC has, for the first 3 weeks of the season, they have won the key demographic, which is 18 to 49, which is kind of crazy. So it's for week 3 is the Nets highest rating for the third week of a new season in 5 years. The season has also seen NBC's highest week 1 ratings in 4 years and highest week 2 ratings in 4 years, live plus the same day, which is like DVR, people watching it.
Yeah, DVR today.
Cool.
NBC has been up versus last year in 1849 total viewers for each of the first 3 weeks of the season, while ABC, CBS, and Fox have been down in both categories.
You know what? Thinking about this, I definitely can understand that.
Yeah,
And
I mean, if you see
the reason CBS usually wins, hands down.
yeah, true.
But a lot of their shows are, I mean, their shows have been doing so well for the past, 6 years or longer that they don't have anything new coming out.
Yeah, they don't have a lot of new series.
They do. They don't have a lot new.
Yeah.
And ABC's new was not that great.
No.
And Fox's doesn't have any. Most of what's on Fox anymore, it seems like, is reality shows.
Yeah, or they're just returning shows that were doing well before.
Yeah.
So it's not. I mean, it's not 100% surprising to me that NBC is finally doing well.
Yeah.
It seems like they have new shows almost every night.
So this season is the key demographic. Their number 1 show is, of course, Sunday Night Football, because
Oh yeah, because it's Sunday Night Football.
it's a domination.
Yeah.
It's football country.
Yeah.
Yep.
So number 1 unscripted show is The Voice on Mondays. Number 1 new series is Revolution. Number 1 new
That actually
comedy
surprises me.
is Go On, and then number 1 Friday series is Grimm.
Which
Yeah. I mean, why not?
can we talk? I mean, look.
I'm actually kind of surprised that Revolution's doing that well. Because it's a little bit of a slower burn. I get more out of watching Last Resort than I have Revolution so far. But then they have the little gotchas at the very end, and I'm like, okay, now I'll watch the next one because you left it on a cliffhanger because I want to go to the next one and see what happens. So I'm like, eh.
The number ones that get thrown around are very confusing sometimes.
Yeah, CBS uses a lot.
I was watching something on ABC, I guess, or maybe I was watching Jeopardy on one night, and they had a commercial for Nashville, which is on ABC, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it said, "Watch Nashville Thursday nights, number 1 new drama." And it's like, how many subcategories do you have to go through to call it number 1?
Yeah, Nashville, the number 1 new drama in the 9 o'clock category.
On Thursday night. It's like,
on Thursday nights.
All the other shows are running comedy half-hour shows. Like, what is it actually? You know what I mean? Like, I understand that you're trying to sell it, so you make it a number 1, and you find out how to make it a number 1. But, like, the older I get, the more it sounds like BS.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
They're just using it to sell it, basically, then.
Yeah. But, I don't know. It makes me wonder how quick it's going to get canceled.
Yeah.
Because, I don't know, if you have to get through that many subcategories to finally call it number 1, then maybe...
The number 1 show with Hayden Panettiere.
Nice.
The number 1 show in the last 5 years with Hayden Panettiere, now called Heroes.
Yeah, exactly.
Not called Heroes, yeah.
The highest top-rated show of Hayden Panettiere's career since Heroes.
It gets frustrating.
Yep.
I tend to tune out when I see those kinds of commercials.
Yeah.
It's like when you see a movie trailer with the words at the top and the bottom.
Yeah, exactly. Once it's like blah blah blah, opening blah. Yeah, this movie sucks. All right. So, speaking of canceled shows, we weren't speaking of canceled shows, but
yeah,
we're transitioning to canceled shows.
I said about canceled shows.
Oh yeah. Well, you were talking about this. Actually, we were talking about this when the show, when the fall lineup first came out. The Dane Cook series, Next Caller, has already been canceled. and the show didn't even have it didn't even air yet. It was going to be a mid-season show. They filmed 4 of them, and then the network. This is from Deadline, by the way. The network has heard that the network did not like it at all. So they said, "Okay, we're going to pull the plug."
The premise of the show is stupid.
Yeah.
What kind of world would they force two completely different radio DJs to be on the same show? Right. You can't, unless they're both in jail. You can't force them to do the same show together.
Right. And why would you, right? Because it's ratings wise, it's
yeah.
An idea.
But because you haven't got to that part, the plot of the show is basically that Dane Cook is Howard Stern, and this woman is an NPR lady, a feminist, and they're forced to be on the same radio show. It doesn't make any sense.
Wow.
Yep.
I get that would be a funny premise for a show, but it just doesn't make any sense. Like at the end of the day, at the end of the show, you're like, why don't they just quit? Well, if you hate each other that much, why don't you just quit?
If they were really motivated to tell good motivations for the characters and give them a reason to not quit, But then if it doesn't make sense, then it doesn't make sense. So.
Doesn't make sense.
This is their one big break, and they're gonna find a way to get through it anyhow, just because they want to show who's better than the other.
Yeah, it for sure doesn't make sense. So
it doesn't make sense. Yeah,
that's why it got canceled after 4 episodes. It didn't take very long.
But
NBC is doing well in other things because apparently New Normal and Go On have gotten full season pickups. So.
Oh, nice.
That's what New Normal did.
Yeah. It just looks like a rehashed version of Modern Family, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Whatever floats their boat. In other cancellation things, CBS has canceled Made in Jersey, which looked really terrible, and I'm glad it's gone. Bother watching it. NBC, unfortunately, John, is Animal Practice has been canceled.
Oh.
Look, I told you that was probably going to happen. It's a funny show, but I don't see it lasting.
Right. And then ABC has canceled Private Practice.
Can I just real quick on Animal Practice? The guy, what the hell is his name? Sock from Reaper.
Yeah.
Practice. He's turning into the guy who was Sam on Reaper, where every show he's on is getting canceled.
Oh yeah, yeah, because he had this other show called Sons of Tucson on Fox that lasted a better part of 3.5 episodes.
Oh wow,
something like that. It was pretty ridiculous. ABC is finally going to cancel Private Practice. If they could only cancel the show that it spun off from, I would be. But it's not going to happen probably.
So it's got to be ending soon because I don't know, it stinks.
Well,
I watched. Steph watches it. Are you talking about Grey's Anatomy?
Yes.
Yeah.
Steph watches Grey's Anatomy, and I watched 2 episodes, and I was like, "This show is the writing is bad, the acting is bad."
Last season,
I never got into it.
The last season finale was a helicopter crash. This last season finale was a plane crash. So the next season finale is obviously going to be a rocket crash, and the whole world explodes, and then Grey's Anatomy ends.
The only thing I've learned from Grey's Anatomy is that this hospital in Seattle is the worst hospital in America.
It's doomed. It is just doomed.
No, because
900 people have staph infections at least.
Bad things happened at the hospital in ER in Chicago, but people would live. They were able to save the people. Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen an episode of Grey's Anatomy where the person that they're working on has survived.
Uh-oh. They're all red shirts. No!
Yeah, exactly, right? It's like I broke my leg. Okay. The guy died.
That's exactly it.
5 minutes later, the guy's dead.
Broke a leg. And
it's like House, but except for he doesn't save anybody.
They come with a broken leg, and then it's like, okay, we'll just reset your leg, and they bring him into the OR, and it's like, oh, something's happened because someone was talking about my relationship while I was operating.
And I severed his main aorta, I severed his aorta in his heart.
What? You're supposed to be setting his leg. I'm sorry, I was just too distracted
about my life and my love life. It was awful.
I got mad and I stabbed him. You know? Really?
And then the shows you were
why I'm
talking
glad
about,
I don't have that show.
Were you talking about the shows that were in trouble?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can talk
That's
about
right.
it.
Mention
What
them.
shows you want to talk about?
Mob Doctor.
Yeah.
I hadn't actually seen anything about it or watched any of the trailers or commercials or any of the episodes, but I
You
heard
know nothing about the show.
I heard a commercial on the radio that basically told what the plot was.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And it's another one. It's like, why would she agree to that? Like, I understand you love your brother, but if he's in trouble with the mob, why would you agree to be a doctor for the mob? Because there's no out for you.
Because
Yeah.
he owns
There's
her.
no way it can be like, well, I'm done with this. I finally repaid my brother's debt.
Because he owns her.
No, he doesn't.
He says.
They came to him. They came to her and said, "Your brother owes us money, whatever. Something happened, so we can either kill him or you can be our doctor." At least that's what the radio commercial said. The plot was.
Well,
In my mind, I'm like, okay, if those are my options, then I'm not going to be your doctor.
I mean, you can't say no to Manny Horvitz.
A Jewish doctor or a Jewish mobster.
Yes. That the guy who plays Manny Horvitz in Boardwalk Empire is the mob leader.
Who's Manny? Is that the jerk who always
The guy
laughs?
from Philly.
Laughing?
The dude from Philly.
Oh, that guy.
Yeah.
The butcher.
Let's not talk about what happens. But yes, he's the butcher.
No wonder he's not on the show anymore.
Oh, damn. Spoiler.
It was totally out of the blue.
He totally flew in Vegas. He totally flew to Vegas and joined Michael Chiklis and Dennis Quaid.
Nice.
Yeah. So
Boardwalk Empire, by the way,
Huh?
have you been watching Boardwalk Empire?
I saw 1.5 episodes or something.
Okay, so you did see that episode.
Yes, it was kind of ridiculous, and I'm pretty sure they did that just so he could do Mob Doctor. And then once this show
Yeah.
gets canceled, they'll be like, "Welcome back, Manny." You're like,
Yeah.
"Oh,
Oh,
Yeah, I
you
took a
know, the
vacation.
guy who only has one eye missed you
Yeah.
because he's a terrible shot.
yeah, exactly." Okay, so In Trouble is CBS's Partners, which is the people who brought you Bleep My Dad Says and some other stuff. Well, as
Yeah,
Will
it's
and Grace.
I don't know. Doesn't seem like a great. They brought you Will and Grace, I think.
They
Also.
brought you Will and Grace as well as Bleep My Dad Says. So they've had stinkers.
Yeah.
And
I know.
Amy will be very upset with this because Last Resort
I
and
know.
666 Park Avenue are probably going to get canceled.
Now, Last Resort, I have to say, I like what they're doing with it because they are making it into like more of a conspiracy type of thing, but they're not. They are taking a very long time getting there. If they were going to turn it into a conspiracy theory type thing, they should have had it done right now. So I see where they've got enough threads to make a story last, but they're just not. It's not hitting all the beats that it needs to be to keep people listening and watching. Although I have to say, every time I'm like, it does get my heart pumping. I'm like, no, you know. But there are definitely, I can see where I'm like, okay, I'm getting a little frustrated because they are kind of leading me along in some places, but then they're not doing enough. So I'm like, they're not keeping the high tension going, and I'm starting to lose my steam watching it, and they're not keeping the high. This is really, thrilling from the very get-go. So I'm like, okay. 666 Park Avenue, it's turning into something else than what I don't know, it's like, it's kind of hard to explain. It's like a horror show, but it's yet, again, it's the same thing where they're not, they need to give more of a payoff. What's going on with this guy that's in there? I think they're trying too much to be like Lost and, kind of like build it up and build it up and build it up without giving any answers. And I was like, Lost it, but that's because they were lost and you're not. So don't try to be.
Yeah, they definitely. Yeah, I mean, they kept it. The Terry O'Quinn thing, right? So
Yeah, well, it's got the whole spooky, haunted hotel vibe type thing with some guy that's like in on. You wonder, the main guy who used to play, what was it? On Lost, he played Locke, and in this, he's like the guy that runs the hotel. So 666 Park Avenue. Yeah, I'm sad it's on the chopping block, but yeah, we'll get through it. We'll see what happens, and there are a lot of other things to watch, so it doesn't make it, right?
I didn't want to be the one to say this, but this is one of the shows that I had penned for not making it through this season.
Yeah.
Know that you were enjoying it, or that you had planned on starting to watch it. So I didn't say anything the day that we picked the shows that we thought were going to make it. But I don't know.
There are other supernatural shows that are on that have done it better. I can see that. So I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, wasn't God, no, I can't remember what his name is. The guy who played Locke.
John Locke.
Terry Quinn, yeah. He was on. Wasn't he on Hawaii Five-0?
He was. He was a reoccurring special guest star. Yeah.
So he wasn't like a main character or anything.
No.
Okay. Okay. I just I wasn't sure like why he would choose to leave a successful show on CBS to go.
Yeah, he was just going to be there for a little bit. I don't.
Gotcha.
They probably extended him a little further than he was supposed to as well. So.
Well, on 666 Park Avenue, he's kind of like one of the main dudes. So
Yeah.
supporting character or role.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, speaking of roll, we're gonna roll into the main show, the main thing that we're gonna talk about tonight, which is The Walking Dead is back.
AIDS.
Speaking of, yeah.
You know what's funny? I never realized is who they consider main regular characters and guest stars on the show. Certain characters who have been in the show since episode 1 are still only billed as supporting role or guest roles.
Well, you mean like T-Dog, who doesn't talk?
That's one. Another one is
He doesn't show up for most of the show.
The
say anything.
The woman who had the abusive husband.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's still considered a guest star on the show.
That's weird.
This is only
short-haired lady. Yeah.
Only Herschel's second season, but he's still only considered a guest star.
Yep.
Which I thought he would have been bumped up a little bit more.
Well, maybe they're going to get rid of him. I don't know.
Yeah.
Does anybody else have that idea?
He pulled through, though, right? I mean,
doom and gloom. That people are going to just start dying this episode. This season.
Like, so let's say that we're going to start spoiling some crap. So,
yeah.
I mean, they kind of, he definitely almost went that way, right?
Yeah, I was like, oh my gosh, he's going to die.
First, when he woke up, I was like, what if he's a zombie? Don't touch him.
Yeah.
Well,
This is the show that my husband's watching with me. He won't watch anything else but this. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
In the comic, and I'm going to spoil some stuff from the comic.
Okay, good. Go for it.
In the comic, not Herschel, but the other old guy, and he was on the show. He died in the last episode last year. Or not the last episode, before the last episode. God, what the hell's his name?
Jane?
Oh yeah. I know who you're talking about. Yeah. The guy with the hat.
Yeah, the old dude. Yeah, I forget his name.
Yeah.
Dale.
Dale. There you go, yeah. Dale.
Really long time in the comic book.
Yeah.
And at one point, he gets bitten on the ankle by a zombie, and they cut his leg off, like they did with Herschel. So it works. He doesn't turn into a zombie and all that kind of stuff, which they thought was going to happen with him. But something really cool happens with Dale in the comic book, where he basically makes himself bait so other people can get away, because he knows he's old and he only has one leg.
Yeah.
So I wonder if that's something they're going to do with Herschel at some point in the future. Like, even though he lived and he didn't become a zombie, so he's not really a threat to them directly, he's not mobile.
Yeah, he can't.
Which is a big drawback.
Yeah.
To a zombie apocalypse.
If they ever leave that, if they ever leave the prison, he will instantly be, bumped off real quick.
Right. There's
just no way that he's going to be able to make it with the rest of them. So, yeah.
But I thought that was really cool. Like, it happened. I stopped reading the comic book about 6 months ago, but it happened pretty recent, like within the last, 18 months or so of the comic book. So I thought it was pretty cool that they would bring something that recent in the comic book into the show. But you can obviously see why, because of the, definitely helps the characters develop. You see Maggie, almost accepting that he's going to die, and telling him it's okay for him to die.
Yeah.
Whereas her younger sister is like, he's gonna live, he's gonna live. So you definitely see some character development through moments like that, through moments like at the end of the show where the conversation between Rick and his wife, which she's still awful.
Yeah, but at least now he knows she's awful.
Yeah.
I mean, he kind of said that, right? He was like, "Are you sure I should be doing this? Because last time you kind of told me to do this, and look what happened now." Like,
but she's still she's awful for him as a character, but she's awful for the audience as a character even more, because now it's like she went from being, I love Shane, I love Rick, I love Shane, I love Rick, to now I'm mopey and I don't, I can't even talk to my husband because you're just going to question my every thought.
because you're stupid.
Yeah. Well, they're not really trying to build their relationship either. Like, there's still this distance between the two of them. And
right.
So to win that back, you have to put her in a role where she's not all mopey. So
yeah.
She's also hard to put that in there because she's also expecting. So you're like, well, when does she have time to have action and all that? Because she can't. She's gonna have a baby soon. If she falls down, she's gonna be in trouble. But yeah, so it's very hard to see how they're gonna be able to improve that role. So we'll see how it goes.
The zombie's gonna eat his way through.
Aww.
We can only hope.
I hope that she dies.
We can only hope.
It'd be so awesome. Can you imagine that? Oh my god.
That would be creepy. I'm sorry. I'd be like, no, don't do that. I still remember the character that was in the comic, and I'm still hopeful that they're able to find a way to pull that out of her. So I'm like, we'll see how it goes.
Well, if the comic book is any indication of her future, then
I know she does die in the comic book too, but
I mean, even in her interviews,
she stays for a while, so it's like,
yeah, but even in the interviews for the show, the actress says that Laurie has to die.
Laurie has to die.
It's the natural progression, right?
She stayed for a while in the comic book, but she only stays until the governor comes to the prison, which is happened this season.
Just gonna shoot her in the face.
Oh.
Yeah, that's sort of what happens. But I'm excited. I mean, it kind of ticks me off, I guess, when they have whole episodes without showing certain characters. You have all these characters, and it's not just for The Walking Dead, but for other shows. Like I said, we've been watching Boardwalk Empire. And it's like, they haven't had anything with Chalky White in a couple episodes of Boardwalk Empire so far this season. It's like, okay, if you don't have anything to write for him, that's fine, but at least have him there around.
Yeah, at least have him eating like a Danish or something.
Yeah. The last episode didn't have any of Michonne or
Andrea, right?
Andrea.
Andrea, yeah.
I kind of hope that they. I understand there was a lot to do with the prison, and they found the prisoners who were still alive, and how everything went down with those four.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of story to get through, but at least show the last episode, Andrea had a big fever and was barely able to move.
Sick.
Or the first episode, right? So it's like they didn't really show anything past that except Michonne saying, "No, I'm not going to leave you here."
Yeah. Yeah.
So it kind of leaves it off okay, well, what happened to them?
Yeah, well, hopefully they're teasing that this Sunday they'll have it.
They think they're definitely going to be in this next episode, which is good. I just wish they would have been at least show a small clip of them, going through the woods
doing something, so that we know that they're still there. Yeah.
Although I think it's a good idea that they can do that, right? Because second season definitely had a pacing issue because they were consistently just always on the farm. So consistently, just always on the farm, always on the farm.
But that ties in with the first episode they go into the prison, they clear everything out, and they clear out a section for them to live in, and then the second episode. Not that I'm complaining, they were both very good episodes, but the second episode they're still clearing everything out, and then they clear out a section for these other prisoners to live in.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay.
Although I guess it was important for them to establish that Rick was willing to do anything necessary to keep all of them together. So when the governor does come to the prison, that's already been well established that Rick is willing to machete people's heads in half. Let a guy get sacrificed to zombies for the better of the group.
Yep.
That was a dick move.
Even when the guy ran,
wasn't it? The younger guy that I think he knew what was going on or whatever, but still at the same time,
it's pretty clear that who the head honcho was, and once that guy was out of the way, or at least they saw Rick put a hatchet in that guy's face, you would think that these guys would pretty much fall in line and be like, okay, we don't want any problems. This guy was going to try to kill you.
Yeah, but that's the thing is you get into a situation like that. Who was in on it? You would be very tempted to take all of them out, knowing that, well, if one of them is willing to do that, wouldn't the rest be, oh, we're going to get you back for killing our buddy?
Right, but then why would you let the other two live at all?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, because they were begging for their lives. They're like, we didn't know.
I mean, look, it's pretty stupid for the guy to run through a zombie-infested prison in the first place.
Yeah.
Your first reaction, you see, you're all fighting together to clear out the zombies, and you see one of these guys turn around and put a hatchet through somebody's face. Your first reaction is going to be like, I ain't going to be around this guy.
Yeah, because I'm going to get killed if I do, so...
I don't know. That was my reaction. It was like, it was very cold and not like Rick in the past 2 seasons. Like we know that he's willing to do anything, and we know that he's in charge. But it was like, I read in a blog that it was like very Shane-esque what he did to that guy.
Right. Because Right. So because usually he's like, just all the way until the end, right? Till the point where he needs to take action. He's just gonna let him do what they need to do.
It's almost too far to the extreme of I need to be in charge, where it's like you're not at the part where you have to have a happy medium of listening to what everyone says and taking their account, taking their word for it, and the other extreme of being totally cold and just killing people because you don't want them around.
Okay.
I don't know. For me, it worked.
In the comic book, once they got into prison, was look the one of the characters in the comic book who basically who was supposed to be the T-Dog character. T-Dog is not that guy, and him and Rick were good friends. I can't remember what his name was.
I know this is the guy that had the daughter that came back and had the boyfriend, and he was a good character because he ended up being that character that Lori wasn't.
Right.
Because they were on opposite sides of things, but they respected each other and they kept each other in line, which was kind of cool in that way. I mean, they did have a big dispute where they did not see the same way, but yet they respected each other for it. And
once they got into prison, they had an agreement where, look, we don't kill humans, we don't kill people. We only kill.
But they haven't made that in the show yet. Yeah.
Well, I mean, Rick had that.
Right, he did.
He's like, we don't kill other humans. So he's like, there's not enough of us left. We can't go around killing other humans.
Yeah, but this other guy tried to kill him first.
That's true.
And that's the only reason why I was okay with the fact that he macheted his head. Is because, dude, he tried to kill him right there. Are you going to let this guy, watch your back anymore? I was like, no.
Yeah, and even Daryl kind of saw that too, right? He's like, you saw the way that guy looked at us. He's like,
but I think that my feeling and the feeling of the blog that I read is that it's not. Everyone understands why Rick would kill him. It's the other guy.
Why he didn't let the other kid
could have saved.
Oh, the other kid.
The kid was. I mean, he was a kid, right? For sure.
Yeah, he was a younger kid. So, yeah.
Well, I mean, he clearly wouldn't have
been
18 because you wouldn't be in a federal prison.
Well, he could be like 19 or something.
Yeah. But
he was definitely younger than everybody else.
Right. That's the one where I think I have more of an issue of you're becoming too far. You're going too far the one way, in that you could have saved him, and the whole point is that you're going to be a separate part of the prison. So even if he was he was in on it, like, you're not going to be able to get to you. You know what I mean?
That's true, because they are keeping them on the other side of the prison. So
And they for sure locked them in. I think.
Well, they're airlocking them in. They don't have any keys.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know.
Well,
Maybe they did it specifically to make everybody question Rick.
So he
I don't know if he's the right guy.
It's a good idea. It's like, hey, you want to f with me? I'm gonna let this kid die, and you guys won't screw with me anymore.
But that's the other thing is no one really saw that except for the audience. So it's only the audience that's quite like, as far as the other characters know, that guy ran into a room full of zombies and Rick couldn't do anything when he got there.
Yeah, because he couldn't have done anything by that point.
That Rick basically killed this guy like that are us.
Yeah.
Right. It's true.
Mm.
And it's something that he has to live with. And I don't know if that'll affect, like, that may affect him in the future.
Yeah, we'll have to see if that does, if they've got a thread there that they're trying to pull toward. So, Cool.
All right. Well, definitely looking forward to more of the season. 2 episodes in. Hopefully we can see more.
Booyah.
Yeah. So cool. Of course, it's going to be a 16-episode season, so it's going to pull exactly what it did last time. Fall series, fall finale.
All series or whatever, yeah. Yeah, okay,
It's going to
cool.
come back in February. Yeah, it's crap. But, all right. So that is it for this week. For John, Amy, and myself. We will see you guys next time.
All right.
Bye-bye.
You've been listening to ScreenView. ScreenView is a radio-free Cybertron production. Visit us at tfradio.net for show notes and to subscribe to the podcast. Follow us on Twitter at tfradio for news and updates. Watch our live stream at tfradio.net/live. Join our Facebook fan page at facebook.com/tfradio. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, TF Radio Network. Have a question or comment? Leave it on our Facebook fan page or mail it to contact@tfradio.net. Copyright 2011, Radio Free Cybertron.